I'd like to start out by apologizing I didn't have my second video up last week because I went to the doctor on Wednesday for a different appointment. Found out through some blood tests that I am sicker than I thought I was. So, yeah. I've been kind of grappling with that issue. Apparently I have, diabetes. Yeah. Anyways, don't worry. I'll try to do 2 episodes this week. It all kind of depends because of Thanksgiving, so sorry. At the start of the episode, we find out that his nickname comes from the fact that after he had a killing spree, he had shielded a flower from being covered in more blood, which I thought was kind of romantic. It's just very interesting to me how this whole time they're talking about, the Ghost King to pretty much, if you know, you know. But, and he's like asking questions like, what do you think he was like? What do you think he looked like? And at one point, XL actually says, I think that the Ghost King would look kind of like you. And I kind of laughed a little bit. He also does eventually admit that the Ghost King is in fact blind in one eye because he straight up ripped it out from madness. Now, I read the book, so I know what he did with the eye. I don't believe he mentioned it in this episode, but yeah. So, side note, can we talk about how beautiful Song Lang's eyes are? Like, oh my god, it is criminal how beautiful his eyes are. Like, I wish my eyes could be that cute. Song Lang even tells XL what the Ghost King's basic, weaknesses, which is his ashes. And the only way that he would give anybody his ashes at this point was if it was somebody he trusts, because that's the tradition. And XL's like, wow, that must be something that would be really hard to do, because you'd have to really trust that person. Otherwise, they could betray you, and I imagine that would hurt a lot. And Song Lang's like, if it were me, I don't care if the person I trust just scatters the ashes to the wind or destroys it, because that would be fine with me. That whole scene, in my opinion, just encompasses just the whole pairing as itself of, like, he doesn't care what his lover would do to him. It's okay. He would accept it because it was his decision. And I don't know if I could ever imagine giving somebody that level of trust and control. I don't think I could. This whole episode is just so adorable and funny at the exact same time. I mean, when they're sharing a meal together, XL split in half. He didn't have a whole lot to offer. He is a poor god. And yet he shares with this guy. And I'm just like, he is so sweet. Shortly after the bun scene, Song Lang starts to fall back. And XL quickly catches him. And the look on freaking Song Lang's face of just like, I'm not worthy of even his touch. Oh, it just makes me feel so sad for him, honestly. We do get a rather funny scene, though, right after that, involving the ghost festival. So there's a bunch of ghosts that are basically traveling through the human world from hell. And XL has to deal with the cart driver freaking out. And he has to figure out how to, which way to go to get away from them. And we get to see him do this cool superpower that makes it so, they're invisible. And these people are like, why can't we get past the ghosts? I guess they're not people anymore. But, yeah, the whole thing is funny. And he ends up doing this stick trick that would basically tell him which way to go. But the sticks weren't working correctly at all. So Song Lang was like, here, let me try. And it shows 2 different directions that you could go. And he's like, well, let's leave it to luck and go this way. But it was the wrong way. See, the thing that's really funny about XL is that he has extremely bad luck. Like, he is the unluckiest god/person living being in the world. Meanwhile, Hao Cheng, HC, is actually the luckiest in the world. Like, in a way, it's like they cancel each other out. Anyways, so they're surrounded by ghosts because of the turn they did pick. And he's trying to just intimidate them or at least persuade them in some way to leave him and Song Lang alone. But they're not falling for it. They're like, you're trying to kill us and we're going to kill you instead. The ghosts go to attack XL, but then Song Lang turns and narrows his eyes and they seem to almost glow. And the ghosts notice and they're like, yeah, we're out. They know what's up. And they're like, we're not going to fight this battle because we will lose. XL's like confused, like, oh, why did they run? What do you think startled them? And Song Lang's like, oh, I'm sure it was you. You're the one that must have scared him off. You were really intimidating. But now XL's starting to get a little sus. Throughout the remainder of the episode, XL does random things that seem like he's being helpful to Song Lang, but really, he's testing him to see if he's really a type of ghost disguised as a human. Because he's like, something's not right here. One of the first tests that he does is to check out his palm to make sure nothing's really hidden there that could reveal, that he is a ghost. Because, you can't have like a perfect palm. There would be something amiss there, basically. And he pretends he's checking his palm to read his fortune. And he just starts coming up with bullcrap answers. Like, you're going to be prosperous. You have a long life ahead of you. And, everything's going to be great. And Song Lang starts fishing for compliments. He's like, well, what about relationships? And he's like, well, you're handsome. You're going to have no problems finding, somebody to love you. But the whole time, again, he's just checking, and he deduces that if he is a ghost, he has to be a wraith or something higher, because he's really good. It looks human. When they get back to the temple, XL actually does offer Song Lang a place to stay since he seems to have nowhere to go. Again, XL just always eager to help people who seem to be in need. Once inside the temple, Song Lang notices that there's something very crucial missing from the temple. And XL's like, well, what could that be? And he's like, you're missing a portrait of your god. I can paint that for you. And XL's like, that's fine. You don't really need to do that because you probably don't even know what the god looks like. And he's like, oh, I know what the god looks like. Which really surprises and excites XL because not a lot of people seem to know, that he exists as a god. As they're getting ready to go to bed, in the same bed, by the way, guys, XL asks him, what do you think of, the god? And he responds with, I don't think that the other gods like him at all. And XL asks, well, why do you think that they don't like, him? And he ends up saying, they seem to be really harsh on him. They banished him twice. We then see Song Lang looking at the wrapped bandage parts that have the shackles because of his banishments. Like we all know, Song Lang knows he's the god that they're talking about. And XL gets very, self-conscious about his shackles. And he tries covering them up, which I think, really slightly upset Song Lang. And he ends up being, just done with it. And he turns over to go to sleep. He's just like, I'll respect you. I won't talk about it no more. When XL wakes up the next day, though, he sees a portrait of him, beautifully painted with the mask and the outfit that you should have recalled seeing at towards the end of episode 1. And he's like, oh my god, this is like a perfect likeness. After XL thanks Song Lang, he decides to do another test and check his hair to see if there's any abnormalities in the hair. He's like, let me fix your hair for you. And so as he's pretending to tie it up and fix the ponytail, he's just checking the strand individually, unable to find anything else again. Songlong knows it's taking a little too long and decides to tease him a little bit. And we get this cute chibi scene. I love chibi scenes. And I lived for this. He quickly tries to fix it into a ponytail, and now it's lopsided. And it will forever be lopsided, if I remember correctly. The next test he does is he puts up all these anti-ghost evil bean charms on the rug thing that's making a door, but is not really a door. And Songlong starts to leave, and he thinks he's got him, like, oh, he can't enter. But then he comes back with enough wood to make a door, and he makes it perfectly, without any measurements or anything. After a montage of the two of them working together to fix the temple, some new worshippers come thanks to the cart driver. And they all, again, have unreasonable expectations of him. And he's like, I can't do any of these things. Please have reasonable requests. And Songlong is, like, very amused by this. It's kind of hilarious. XL then says, I'm not used to having such luck. Maybe your luck is rubbing off on me, Songlong. And then friggin' Songlong says, if you can find any of my luck helpful, you can take it all. And XL's like, huh? Because he didn't quite hear him. And he's like, nothing. It was very sweet. Anyways, episode ends with old man needing help. But yeah. And that was the episode. Can I just say, the amount of views these have been getting have been pretty high for me, honestly. And I'm just really touched that any of you guys even want to watch me. Please don't feel like, you have to, like, stay silent, or if you have to comment if you want. It really fuels me, comments and likes. But don't feel like you have to. Anyways, next episode we'll go back to Actors Connection, and I'm really sorry if it doesn't come out this week. It will be because of Thanksgiving. It all depends on that, so